Okay, so you're over 50, you're overweight, and you hate to exercise. So that describes me to a T. I should say that it used to describe me to a T, but okay, so I am still over 50. I can't change that. I still am overweight. I'm working on that. But I no longer can say I hate exercise. And it's because I have finally found the exercise that I actually like. So obviously you can tell by the description, by the title, and by the thumbnail that bicycling is the exercise that I believe is one of the best exercises you can do if you are over 50, you are overweight, and you hate to exercise. So I am hoping at the end of this video you will be persuaded to try biking for the first time, or maybe to revisit it if you haven't done it in years, even if you are overweight and you are over 50. So be sure to stay till the end of this video, because after I tell you the benefits, like why this is so amazing, I'm going to give you specific, I think there's 7 specific tips for those of you who are over 50 and overweight, and give you ideas on how to get started. And these things have helped my husband and I since May, it is now August, go over 400 miles bike riding. So let's go over some of the actual health benefits, because if you're going to spend some time exercising, you want to make sure this is actually going to give you a bang for your buck, so to say. I know some of these are not going to be a surprise, but some of them surprised me. First of all, let's talk about the fact that you burn between 300 and 400 calories in an hour. Now that's about the same thing as running. So I think you have a good payoff for the time that you're putting in. Bike riding is awesome cardio. And on top of cardio, it's interval training. Now interval training is one of those things that it's like you're riding along, you're going slow, and then all of a sudden you really speed up and make it be a bigger effort. That's interval. And that the experts say that is one of the best kind of exercises you can do, because your heart rate goes up and then it slows down, and then it goes up and then it slows down. Well, think about bike riding. You're going along and then you hit a hill, so you have to put in effort, and then you go down that hill. So you're relaxing, and then you go along and you hit another hill. Well, that's interval training. It's one of the best things about biking. It obviously builds muscles, and the more muscles you have means that you are burning more calories as you just do normal life. So obviously all of your muscles are going to be on your legs and your butt. So you might want to do some other kind of training for your upper body, but as far as building some muscles, it is amazing for that. So now let's talk about some of the complaints that I had as a person who hated exercising. These are the things I used to say. Biking has made it so that I can actually get over those complaints and actually do it. So first of all, I have arthritis. It's mostly in my hands, but I do have touches of it in my knees and my hips. Guess what? This is a low impact exercise. There's no jolting. It's all very fluid. I have not had any issues with my joints as I ride. Now, when you are overweight, and especially if you are over 50, exercising is really hard. Running is really hard. I am never going to be a runner, even if I lost all my weight. I just don't like to run. But running is very jolting, and it's very hard to do when you're carrying that much weight. With biking, there's no up and down. Well, there is as you're riding, but it's not a jolting up and down. And so you can absolutely do this when you've got extra weight on you. I always wanted to find an exercise that I could do over the long term. Biking is one of those things that you can do way into your retirement. There's no reason to stop unless you have some kind of physical difficulty to make you stop. But for the normal everyday person, biking can last for many, many years into your retirement. I know that some forms of exercise require you to learn how to do it and make it necessary to maybe take a class. Obviously, you just need to learn how to ride a bike, and you probably already know how to do that. Now, having said that, there are some tips, and at the end of this, remember, I'm going to give you some specific tips to make this much easier for you so you won't give up. Another common complaint is, I don't want to spend a lot of money. All you need is a bike, and you probably need a helmet. In fact, you definitely need a helmet. So if you don't have a bike, yes, you will have to invest in a bike, but go on Facebook Marketplace. You can find some relatively cheaper ones to get started. But many of us already have a bike. Use the one that you have. Okay, besides the bike and the helmet, you may want to have a water bottle, but that's cheap. Another common complaint is I don't have time. Okay, I will say biking definitely takes some time. It takes at least a half hour to get a decent workout with you continually working at it. But a half hour isn't that much, and you can get a pretty decent workout in a half hour. If you want to make it worth your while, you could use it as a destination. So while you're doing an errand, ride your bike to that errand. I've done that sometimes, and it makes it a lot easier to spend that time, and then I got my errand done, and I got an exercise in. Okay, these next things are probably my absolute favorite reasons why biking is such a good choice if you are over 50 and you are overweight and you hate to exercise. Okay, one of my biggest complaints is exercising is boring. I have found that biking is one of those things that is not boring because I can get lost in it. As I'm riding, I'm looking at the scenery around me. It changes constantly. I'm at one point working harder, and then another point I'm going down a hill and enjoying the breeze. So it doesn't get boring. It's so much fun to watch the things happening around me. It is one of the best ways to explore an area. My husband and I have found some really fun neighborhoods and some pathways and some areas around where we live I never had seen before. So riding a bike is one of those perfect things to do that way. And again, I get lost in what I'm doing instead of thinking about the exercise that I'm doing and how much I want to quit. I don't have those feelings. I feel like I want to keep going because I'm enjoying myself. Another huge benefit is you can do it alone, but you can also do it with friends. Now, I do it with my husband, but last weekend he and I went on a long bike ride, 25 miles, with a couple friend of ours. And I didn't even know we had done 25 miles. Now, my butt kind of knew it, yes. But we were talking, that my girlfriend and I were just chatting away, and my husband and her husband were chatting away behind us, and we were just enjoying ourselves. And before we knew it, we were done. Now, it was a flatter course, so we could talk. It's not like we were out of breath the whole time. We went 3 hours, and I was like, okay, that was fun. If you asked me to walk for 3 hours, I would have gone, nope, not happening, because I hate to walk for a long period of time. Again, you get lost in it and you're not thinking about the exercise. This is going to sound pathetic, but I hate to sweat. Okay, you do sweat biking, so I'm not going to tell you don't sweat. But the beauty of it is while you're in the midst of all that sweat, you have a breeze coming at you constantly. And so it cools you off. In fact, there are many times I don't even realize I've been working that hard until we come up to a light or something where we have to stop. And then all of a sudden the sweat is just pouring off of me. I'm like, wow, I was actually working kind of hard and I didn't even know it. So that is a huge benefit. And of course, if you've worked really hard to go up a hill, there's the downhill with a wonderful, huge breeze. You just get that payoff that you don't get walking or running. You don't get a breeze coming at you unless there's a natural breeze happening the whole time. Okay, one of the best things is the fact that you can't quit. Now think about it. If you go out from point A to point B, if you were in the middle of between point A and point B and you feel like quitting, you still have to get to point A. You still have to work. So yes, you can kind of quit. You can turn around and go home, but you're still going to work to get there. When you are at home doing a workout, you can just stop. So if biking and running is the same thing, you're out, you have to get home or you have to get back to your car. So it's very hard to quit. I guess, okay, you could call an Uber, have them come pick you up. Don't do that. There are many times that I would have wanted to quit. Like if we went on a really hilly bike ride and I'm like, oh, this is so much work. Yes, have I wanted to quit? Of course I have those times. But the beauty of it is I can't. I still have to get home. I still have to get to my car. You still get that workout in even if you feel like quitting. Okay, now I'm going to give you my best tips. There's about 7 of them on how it has helped me get over the initial hump of learning to get started again and working out and wanting to continue instead of wanting to give up. The first thing I will tell you is choose the right bike. Now, first let me say, if you have a bike, use the bike you have. Don't feel like you have to go buy a new bike. But if you are to the point that you are going to choose a bike, my advice is to choose a hybrid bike. A hybrid bike is kind of a cross between a road bike with the really thin tires and a mountain bike with the really thick tires. It's a hybrid. It's in between the two, and it means that you can go on the road very comfortably, but you also can go on a cinder path or a dirt path and be comfortable and not feel like you're not going to be able to do it okay. So I love it. I feel like we've been going on so many different roads and paths and stuff, and it makes it so much more enjoyable. So I highly recommend getting a hybrid bike. My bike I have had literally for 28 years, and it is working wonderful. It's from the company called Trek. I highly recommend the company. They aren't always cheap. They are an amazing bike. The fact that I can ride this bike 28 years later and it's working wonderfully. So I highly recommend that brand. Okay, number 2 is to get the right size bike for you. You would be amazed the difference between a bike that is the proper size for your height compared to one that is not. You will work so much harder and you will want to give up because you won't be comfortable. Your legs need to be at a certain height away from the pedals, the seat, it all matters. So a bike store will help you do all that fitting. I highly recommend getting one that is right for your size. And I'm going to go ahead and link some information below, but also just go to a bike store and they can help you out with that. So number 3, get a bike that is 21 gears or more. And that really matters. I know it's tempting to go get that cute beach bike with the basket in the front and, let's add some flowers in the basket and make it be cute. But the fact is that's probably only 3 gears, if even that. And you will be working so hard to be able to keep going because the gears matter. Being able to change gears constantly makes a huge difference. When I am riding, I could be changing gears every minute, every 30 seconds, every 10 seconds. I'm constantly changing my gears to make it so I'm pedaling harder or lighter depending on the terrain of the road or the path I am on. It makes a massive difference. So I'm going to insert here a little footage that I took so you can see how many times I would change gears as I'm looking at a hill coming up and some other things that I do to make it better for me as I ride. All right, you can see the big hill in front of me, and as I see it, as I get up to it, but not when I'm really ready to go up it, I want to start downshifting, therefore making it easier to pedal. But you don't want to over pedal and make it so that you're spinning your legs fast because that will exhaust you. So get to the point where you're at the bottom of the hill and start downshifting. This is key to making it so that you can last a long time going up and down hills and making it so that you have a much more fun time bike riding. So as I'm going up the hill, I'm going to keep downshifting and probably get to first gear depending on how steep this hill is. You can see on this part, I'm not going very fast. I'm going pretty slow at this point. This hill is actually pretty steep. When I get to the point that I'm at the crest of the hill, I'm going to, at that point, start upshifting. So therefore, making it so that I'm going up gears, making it harder to pedal. But because I'm going downhill, I don't feel that stress on my legs as I'm pedaling. Another thing to teach you guys is to save your tushies. So when you're coming up to this bridge over here has a very big transition. It is painful. So as I'm getting close to it, at this point, I'm going to start lifting my butt up off my seat. You can see how hard that is. And then I can go back down again. It's not a big lift, it's just a little lift, but it's going to save your butt in the long run. Another thing to learn is how to prepare when you come up to an intersection or when a time that you may have to stop and then start again. It's really hard if you are in a high gear to get started again. So anytime I'm coming up to an intersection where it's a stop sign or a stoplight, right before I get to it, I will see it coming ahead and I will downshift. Like you can see here, Doug is in front of me, but we're downshifting at this point, knowing that there's a light here and we may have to stop and then get started again. You don't want to have to stop in a really high gear. So kind of preempt that issue and downshift before you get to it. And then it's such an easy start again, and you don't look like you're struggling to cross the street. Okay, number 4 is to get a wider seat. Okay, so I have a wider seat or a tush or a butt or whatever you want to call it. It's wider because I'm overweight. So it just makes sense that my seat or my saddle, that's what they call it on a bike, needs to be wider to accommodate that and make it more comfortable. It will save your back, it will save your butt, and it will just be so much more comfortable and you'll feel like going longer, and that's key. So get the seat that's proportioned for you. Also, get a seat cushion over it or a gel. They're made out of gel, they're made out of foam. You can find them in different places. I will link a couple below. That will make a massive difference for how comfortable you are on your ride. Okay, number 5 is probably the thing that I hear the most, and I will admit I had to get over this one myself. You're worried about how you look on the bike. When you're overweight, you don't want people to see you on a bike and you're struggling and it's a tiny little hill and you are completely out of breath and you have to get out and walk. It's okay. You kind of have to just say to yourself, nobody cares. You just need to get on the bike. You're doing an amazing thing because you are working your body. So don't think about what anyone's thinking about you because their opinion doesn't matter. What matters is that you're on that bike and you're doing it. So I know that I have to still get over that because in my mind, I look like this. In reality, I look like this. In truth, what I want to do is not look like an athlete. I just want to look like a woman who is bettering herself. And that's all you want to do. So kind of get over that whole thought process. It doesn't matter. Okay, number 6 is how to get started without overdoing it. I would say in the beginning, put in about 30 minutes tops. Choose a flat route, your neighborhood, a park, and just kind of get used to being on your bike again. Ride it around, just enjoy the scenery. You're going to feel all those muscles again, I guarantee you. Your butt is going to hurt far faster than your legs actually will feel because that's just the nature of it. And when you get on your bike the next day or the day after that, you're going to feel it on your butt. I guarantee you're going to be like, okay, yep, I feel that one. It does get better. I swear, I can get on my bike after 25 miles the next day. I don't have that pain anymore. So it does get easier. You just kind of have to get over that hump. When you're starting out for the first time, you don't want to go out away from your house or your car and go 10 miles away. Well, that means you got to go 10 miles back. And you might die 5 miles out and you still got to ride back. Now, I know that that's one of the benefits, but that's a benefit when you're farther on. If it's your first or second time out, be kind to yourself and only go out like a mile. Ride 15 minutes one way and 15 minutes back. And then the next day, do a little bit longer. So get yourself gradually into it because if you decide to go whole out and do like an hour-long bike hike, you are not going to want to get back on that bike for quite a few days, and it's going to negate the work that you just did. So start out slow and build slowly. And number 7 is just do it. Just get on your bike and ride, even if it's a couple miles and you're done, even if it's 10 minutes and that's all you can do. That is better than doing nothing. So if you need more inspiration, I would recommend watching this video here. This one is about my experience in weight training, so it's kind of a little bit more information about exercise, and you'll see my hatred of exercise, but you will also be surprised the outcome of this video. If you need more inspiration for weight loss, I recommend this one. This is my weight loss journey from the beginning, and I also have an entire playlist that I will link below about my weight loss journey. So guys, if you have any questions, put them below, and I will see you in the next video. God bless.